AI is a very, very powerful tool. I sit on a school board. We're always worried about, whether or not, papers are being written by kids or if the technology is actually writing the paper. And, AI now has a way to fact check that so that, there's a way of finding out those types of things. It would be cool if people had access to things that would be able to detect if
Yes.
this is an AI generated piece of propaganda.
Well, plagiarism.
Yes.
I mean, look at when it came to the thing Israel versus the Palestine situation. I believe the lady from Yale or I can't remember, Harvard, she had to step down because they said they went back and looked that she plagiarized things.
Right.
I mean, if you don't give someone credit, that's plagiarism.
Right.
But you also look at you have revenge porn. It's almost the same thing. You have these two ladies of housewives. One's opened up a salon and showed a picture of the other lady having oral sex. You haven't seen the damn picture.
Right.
But the thing is, it's perception versus perspective. My perception is whatever I make it. My perspective is taking what you have to say and listening. But we live in a society where people love to jump on it.
Court of public opinion.
Yeah, and it's a lot of times you're defeated before you even get a chance to tell the truth. And like you said about athletes and about schools, you're involved with a really wonderful school, really amazing people. So how do the schools, because this is about education for kids too. If you're going to go to school, I always think it's interesting. People talk about affirmative action.
Yes.
There are many people who don't get an opportunity because of the color of their skin or their sex. That's reality. No one's going to really give them a job unless they can do the fucking job. You need a chance to get in the door.
Right.
And so when you have people who say, well, affirmative action, this and that, to me, it's the same thing like with AI to a degree, because people are saying, well, these people are cheating getting in the door. No, they're not. If you haven't been able to get in the door, someone's got to give it to you. So with AI, the same thing is you got to take a look and say, are these actually doing the job? Do they deserve the grades? Do they deserve it? How does a school address that? Again,
I mean, they have a technology that fact checks, papers, so they're able to run them through a scanner, and it can determine whether or not ChatGPT.
So it knows of the AI.
Yes.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's not thinking the kids.
Yeah, there are certain. I don't know exactly how it works, but there are certain key phrases and things of that nature that if they aren't properly referenced, that it would ring a bell and would cause a further investigation to try to determine whether or not that was authentic work.
Mark, you know a lot about AI. Coming from your perspective, the work you do, how do you feel that it has a negative effect or a positive effect in whatever anybody's doing?
Well, with anything, it's so new, so we're learning how to use it. So people now, as you're seeing different interviews and with like Caitlin Clark not saying that she deserves to make more money, eventually they'll do the same thing that they're doing. Like on Instagram, it'll say how they would fact check things about politics. It'll start saying this is questionable, this might be AI. That way, like as you say, something comes up in your feed and you don't know that it's AI, you might just believe it, and it's too late to even realize it. And now it's already gone viral and affected a lot of people. So in the future, I think what they'll do is they'll be able to dictate what is AI and what isn't, and then be able to at least raise a red flag as you're viewing it. So that way it just knows based on the algorithm, based on the technology. And right now, since ChatGPT is so huge, and then now Google has their AI, everybody's coming up with their new AI, but there's the issues with it. If somebody sends me something that is written by ChatGPT, I don't even need a fact check. I could tell you this is ChatGPT. So for a computer to be able to say that, it's probably very simple right now. But as it gets more advanced, I think both sides are going to get very advanced to the point where we won't know.
It's interesting you put it that way too, because you think about it. It's perception. If you see something on social media, you're going to think it. It's kind of like in relationships.
Right.
People say, Bob, I saw your girl with another guy. Perception is he doesn't know the truth, or vice versa. What you're going to go act, you're going to accuse, you're going to create a problem. And I think that's the most important thing, because education is hard enough in this school in this country. But the fact is, it's like you said, the schools are dealing with it. Now, when it comes to the sports, I think it's interesting that people don't really realize all these things deal with sports. Every degree you get in college can be used in sports. I think that's the only, field that every degree you get can work in sports. So your education is important. So when you deal with these, say if you catch a kid doing something like this, how's that handled at school? How do you as a board go to this teacher? Do they bring the parent in? Do they question the kid, or just say, look, here it is, you cheated?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, cheating is a very, very serious offense.
Yeah.
It's taken very seriously. In academia, people like to see authentic works that are original and not plagiarized. So anytime that there is something involving cheating or plagiarism or things of that nature, it's very serious. So you bring the student in and you have a conversation with the student, and if it's been determined that the student has plagiarized the piece of work, there could be a range of different types of.
What grades are at the school that you deal with?
It's a K through 12 school.
Oh, hell, there's a lot of kids.
Yeah. So, but again, I think the kids too now are, they're so technologically savvy that they do understand that, it's not a tool to use because.
Yes.
As well as they know how to use it on the one side, they know on the other side that they can be caught just as easily.
Hey, I got in trouble, and I talk about it. Let me tell you, when they came to me today and said, look, for 2 years, we have text messages, emails, and phone calls, I'm like, shit, and they plop that fucking stack down, and I'm like, wow. Yeah. Because you don't think of that. Yes. We don't think of ahead. We never think of, it's years ago when I had a buddy, we lived in San Francisco, we wanted credit cards. Well, back then, no technology. Mm-hmm. You go to the store, you apply, they call a number, you give them to give you. I had more jobs, we had like $40,000 in credit cards. Right. Now, the thing is, we did what we wanted. We didn't do what we needed. We needed a job. Today, my credit still suffers from that. And it's always about immediate gratification that gets a lot of people in trouble.